Hey y'all guys, welcome to the Tab & Dillard podcast. My name is Tab & Dillard and I sure am glad you joined me today on the Tab & Dillard podcast. We well into what we call season 6 of the Tab & Dillard podcast, episode 7. How about that? There's 6 other episodes in this season already. No matter how, if it's the first time joining us, I just want to say welcome. I also say you can pause this if you're listening or watching kind of thing and go back and catch up. We'll be here waiting on you. And if you're like, don't tell me what to do, then I just like to back out of that statement right now and just say, hey, welcome again to the podcast, and then thanks for listening. You just keep on listening on if you want to. You know, don't take my advice, but I sure appreciate y'all being here today because it's been a hoot of a week and a hoot of a month already in the merry month of April, which is where we at. How was Easter's? Y'all have a good Easter's? I had a good Easter's, had a real good Easter's. It's just that season, spring season, right at the beginning of April, there's Easter's, all kinds of celebrations, get-togethers, all that kind of thing. And then now we heading steady into, full just bike ramped, just launched into spring, and all of a sudden we turned the corner with some of the weather a little bit, and it's, birds is chirping, flowers is thinking about blooming. It's a beautiful time of year. And I'm glad y'all here hanging out with me. I'll tell you one thing that happened this here recently, just over the weekend, but Easter egg hunt, Jerry Don and Sybil Farnhart, they run the flea market in town. They decided they wanted to do Easter egg hunt inside that flea market. Well, you know where they is, that flea market over there in town. It's one of the things where they got that gravel parking lot out front, and they got other things out there, they selling. It could be like lawnmower, zero turn, that kind of work, all these kind of things, like bigger equipment out there, outside. And then you get into the meat and potatoes of the flea market inside, and they got all them different shelves, and they got it organized in their mind. I couldn't tell you what's where. You just kind of got to poke around, find what you find. But anyways, they thought it'd be a good idea to have Easter egg hunt. Well, ain't that nice of you, Jerry Don and Sybil, to open that up to all the kiddos in the area that want to come and do Easter egg hunt inside the flea market. Well, they got all kinds of things on them shelves, and they basically steady said, hey, y'all come in here like a wrecking ball, like a bull in a china shop, and just try to find Easter eggs, just overturn everything. Like, I don't think they thought that all the way through, or maybe they thought kids was just going to be kind of like, looking with their eyes, but they not. They look with their hands. They reaching around stuff. They knocking things over, and they had it was just like chaos there for a little bit. I don't know what actually got broke, but I'll tell you right now, a little whirlwind of activity. They get in there, and they got these little baggies. Jerry Don and Sybil, they didn't spend a lot of money on this. They bought them little eggs, them little plastic eggs. They got stuff hidden in the middle of them. It ain't usually gonna be chocolate because the chocolate will melt, but it wasn't too hot, over the weekend. So, anyways, they spent the money on them plastic eggs. They got stuff inside them, and they didn't spend money on no Easter basket. A kid wanted to bring his own Easter basket and tote it around like that away, but they gave brown paper bags out to other kids that are like, yeah, I'll take a brown paper bag. I don't care nothing about what I put it in. I just want them eggs kind of thing, because I know inside them eggs is little treasures. They didn't have no money or nothing like that, and then maybe a few nickels, but not anything to write home about or anything. Spread across the interweb like that away, like folks do when they see something neat or have something neat or do something neat or find something neat. And so they got in there, and I'll tell you right now, it was like not expected what happened. Like, they got in there, them kids is prowling around looking for them Easter egg hunts. I think Jerry Don fired off like a flare gun or something, just like you starting a track meet, like ready, set, and go. And boy, he fired that thing, and them kids heard that, boom, they was off. They was off like a bottle rocket all through that flea market. And I'll tell you, there's a whole stack of BHS Remington steel tapes, and they got knocked down. And them tapes pretty sturdy. They ain't like, porcelain, nothing like that. They BHS, but the thing is, if you got them organized by different seasons or episodes or whatever, now you got to stack that back up. So that went down. Okay, not a big deal. Well, okay, how about a shelf of Beanie Babies? Thing is, a lot of that flea market floor, it's kind of dirty in there. I think there's some wood, there's some gravel on the floor, but it ain't like a, set up fancy, store like a Walmart's or nothing like that away. And like, they got half the lighting of a Walmart. It's kind of dark in the flea market. You just got to, that's part of the fun of the hunt, I guess, is you get in there with no real good lighting, and you try to poke around and see what you can find. Well, these Beanie Babies fall right off the shelf. I don't know how many they was, but they babies and they beanied, and they weren't supposed to be on the ground. They weren't designed to be on the ground, you know. So Beanie Babies went down. Remington Steel VHS tapes went down. Nothing else went down. Did it happen? Oh no. Magnum PI commemorative plate, but it went falling toward because gravity took over. You know, them little kids with them little wet hands, kids just show up with wet hands. I don't know what they get into, what make them so wet, but they reaching, grabbing, touching stuff, got dirt, I don't know if it's chocolate or dirt or mud on their fingers. I don't even want to know, but I just know they reaching for everything. Well, that Magnum PI commemorative plate fall down and is heading toward the ground. And it landed on a muddy pillow, and it was on a shelf too at some point, and it was muddy on the shelf. Don't think, oh, it hit the ground and then it just got muddy from hitting the ground. No, Jerry Don Silva was selling an already muddy pillow. Now I know the prices is negotiable. Like you could probably work down the price if you love that pillow so much and thought in your head like, well, I got a washing machine or I got, you know, some elbow grease, I can scrub that thing clean and it's gonna be a beautiful pillow, you know, for the couch or recliner or bed or I don't know, a baby doll shelf. I don't know what all folks want to do with a pillow, but all I know is that Magnum PI commemorative plate fell off a shelf and landed on a muddy pillow. Now, it wasn't like soaked in mud, but you just look at it and you're like, that ain't a clean pillow kind of thing. Well, that thing didn't break thanks to the pillow. So, I mean, that pillow's doing wonderful work there for Jerry Don Silva. Saved him some money lost on a Magnum PI commemorative plate because you know that thing's going to sell soon. You know, I ain't going to stick around the flea market too long. You just got to find the right person coming in, and you got to be willing to poke around there at the flea market. I mean, they do good business over there. Jerry Don, he's a businessman. He's had a restaurant before. He's got all kind of business stuff. He's a smart guy. His son Rance runs the bait and tackle, you know, on outside of town by the lake. I'll get to that in a little bit. One thing we're going to talk about today is Fish and Clips had a ribbon cutting because they renamed the bait and tackle to Fish and Clips, and guess who named it? Bink, bink. The other thing about that is I might put together the new design Rance want me to, you know, just for their sign and maybe t-shirts at some point, but that ain't what we're talking about right now. What we're talking about right now is that Jerry Don and Sybil Farnhart decided to let a bunch of kids loose in the flea market to do Easter egg hunts. Well, I don't even know if they found them all. Thank goodness them eggs are plastic. You don't want them hard-boiled eggs get lost for 6 months to upwards to a year, and you think, well, I guess somebody throwed up in one of these aisles and I can't figure out where it's at. No, you got a rotten Easter egg somewhere and you got to find it. So I don't know if they had like a little directory that you know, Sybil drawed up where she's like, okay, this pink Easter egg is here and this green one is here and the one that's got the chocolate in it is over here. We need to keep that cool. I don't know what kind of plan she had. All I do know is that when all them things started hitting the ground, they had to rethink their ideas. I was saying, hey, if y'all going to do like a little Easter egg hunt, do it outside. You know, put them Easter eggs outside. Just throw them in the grass or hide them in the gravel rocks, you know, in your parking lot. But once you get people running in and out of the aisles of your store, you don't know what's coming or going or what's getting knocked off and what ain't getting knocked off. And it was a little tornado of chaos in there for a little bit. And I guess the kids was pretty much happy. Jerry Don and Simple Boy, they did exactly what I thought they did, which was take a note. You know, take out a pen and pad. Or, you know, hypothetically speaking, maybe they just make a mental note. That's what you're thinking about, but you ain't writing nothing down, but it's in your head. And they saying, we ain't going to do indoor Easter eggs hunt next year kind of thing. Like that's kind of, I didn't read their mental note. Like I don't know that you can do that. I don't know how that worked unless they really did write it down and then I could read it like normal people read. But like reading minds or something like that, no, I don't know how to do none of that. You can ask Cricket. That's my gal. She's like, didn't you know that I didn't want to do that? I was like, no, I didn't know that, but I will make what we call a mental note. And then I usually try to write down like a regular people note too, because I can lose my mental notes real easy. I ain't got a good Rolodex up there, but that ain't your problem. What I'm saying is that Easter's went good. I had a good time. Meemaw had all her little baby dolls on display. Beatrice Gail Merton, Becky Thacker Haynes. She had, of course, Rachel Christine up on the shelf in her Easter's dress. And then, boy, by Monday, Rachel Christine was back in her weekday wear. But, you know, she had a good time there with all them gals. I said Becky Tucker Haynes, Beatrice Gail Merton, Clarice Bonwell. That's the other one I was thinking of. And so she got, our baby dolls in full display on the spring. I think she keep talking about rotating them on the shelf and doing that kind of thing. But, I ain't trying to keep up, with all that Meemaw's doing with them baby dolls. I just can't help because I see her a lot and she talk about them a lot. So that's how that go. But Easter's was good. I hope your Easter was good. I do have a special announcement. If you're listening to this podcast or watching it, because it is on the YouTubes, on April 11th, today, when it comes out, then in just a few days, April 15th, midnight. So let's look at here. What is April 15th is really Saturday, but like midnight Friday, so the latest you can get on April 14th. And then it's the earliest morning of the April 15th, Friday night, Saturday morning. That's when the new t-shirt drops, and it's the one I'm wearing. If you see the video, this is Early Bird Gets the Perm. Oh, I know about that, but this is the special edition Mother's Day. Now that we on the other side of Easter, we looking ahead. We about a month out from the Mama's Day. So if you want to pick up one of these shirts, and like I said, I think I said last week, if you got a mama that likes to match, well, pick up a couple. Y'all do a photo shoot, go down to the J.C. Penney's, and smile away. That's the way I see it. But anyhow, there's a link in the show notes today. Now the link in the show notes today ain't going to be directly to this shirt yet because it ain't going to be live till April 15th. But you can see all my shirts there, and then it's going to show up on that page. And then I'll be promoting it this week. I'll be letting folks know. I may do a live, Instagram live this week. Maybe the TikTok live too, to let folks know about the new special edition shirt that's dropping this weekend. But and that's who I want to know right now, whoever's listening to the podcast. So it's a Mother's Day special edition of the Early Bird Gets the Perm shirt. And, I want to tell you about Fish and Clips. They had the old ribbon cutting this week. Like Rance might want me to do a shirt, but there's other things in the works right now. I got to get my new softball shirt going, and I got a little word on softball season here in a second. And then there is a Peekleboon shirt that's going to be showing up on May the 1st. I think is the plan. So between a new softball shirt, a Peekleboon shirt, and a special edition Early Bird Gets the Perm shirt, I think we up to our neck in shirts. Like, I don't know that Fish and Clips needs to be on the list right now, but I'm just saying that. But speaking of softball season, next week, softball season starts. I told you my lineup already in the last couple weeks of the podcast. Team Burger Shed, Bud from Bud's Burger Shed, he's sponsoring my softball team again this year. And we got a good lineup. We got a good team. I mean, it's going to be what's going to be. We adult softball league players, so it's not like we practicing at all. We showing up, people getting off work, showing up half stanky, full stanky, and getting more stanky out on that softball field. What I will say is that Cindy Mydell showed up to the City Hall this week. They had like some sort of a meeting or whatever, and she demanded to be on like the concession stand team this season, which is funny because Cindy, she ain't honest. And she also a little bit of a thief. She got sticky fingers. And she ain't like a Delma Spencer where she all vocal and loud and saying, I need this, I need that. So I was surprised to hear that Cindy Mydell barged into City Hall and said, hey, I need to be on that concession stand team. And now, she doing exactly what makes sense to her. Like she has some plan, but I ain't in the mind of Cindy Mydell, although I have figured out to think one step ahead of her back when I was doing volunteer police work. Basically Undercover then. If you're volunteer police, they give you like a patch, that you can put on your shoulder. I could have had Meemaw sew that patch on my shoulder, but this was a few years back. But I was like, no, I'm going undercover. I worked a rollback cell at the Walmarts, and Cindy Mydell, the one and only, that came into City Hall this week demanded she be on a concession stand team for the adult softball league this season that starts next week. And she's saying, this is what I need. Well, when I was doing that undercover police work, at the rollback sale, I was in the not the gift card, but the birthday card section where you open it up and I would look at like I'm pretending to read them cards, but really my eyeballs is up above them cards and I'm looking like this away, like that away, like who's trying to steal something from this rollback? Well, Sandy Mydell came into that Walmart's with a Seein dog that was the retired firehouse dog that only had one eye because it got in a fight with a squirrel. I'm thinking in my head, Cindy, you trying to come in here? And she's acting like she's blind. She had on them big old old people sunglasses that wrap all the way around your head kind of thing. Like, oh, I can't see nothing. And she holding that dog, got a little vest on it and it got saddlebags on it. More on that in a minute. But she come in there and she acting like she blind and she got a retired firehouse dog that's only got one eye. It's blind in the other and saying, oh, this is my Seein dog. Oh, come on. Well, Cindy come in there like that away, and I was like, boy, I got both my eyes on her and that doggy. And so she poking around, and she got them saddlebags on that dog. Like it's a pack mule going over the Himalayas. And she looking around like she acting like she's shopping. I'm like, Cindy Mydell ain't got this kind of shopping in her. She ain't got the kind of money where you can just go through Walmart and start dropping stuff in a grocery cart or whatever. Now, she didn't have no grocery cart. She had this doggy that had them saddlebags on it. It's got one eye. She got these sunglasses on, but it's pretty bright in the Walmarts. It ain't Jerry Don Simple's flea market where the lighting's low. I mean, there's a lot of light in there. And she dropping everything. I mean, she had a bag of hot fries. She dropped that down in the saddlebag. I thought, well, boy, this is bad. Now, all I'm armed with, as a rollback volunteer police undercover fella, is a can of pepper spray. Now, I don't think, I've been trained. I was like, boy, you can't jump. Just because Cindy Mydell dropped a bag of hot fries in a saddlebag on a Seein dog that's got one eye, is retired from the firehouse, in that saddlebag, that don't mean she stole it. They say, she's still in the store, she's still shopping, she could be paying for it. So you got to use your strength that you have to restrain yourself from doing a premature citizen's arrest or whatever I was going to do. I was a little bit flustered, but trying to stay steady focused. And I seen that bag of hot fries go in there, and I was like, well, I know she ain't paid for it yet. We'll see if she gonna. Well, she get a diet root beer, 2-liter bottle, drop that down there. Pair of men's work boots, right down in that saddlebag. Pleated men's khaki pants, right down that saddlebag. I think she's trying to buy for her brother or dad or uncle something too. But she got some ketchup, a can of Raid, dropping that saddlebag. I'm thinking, how big them saddlebags, like that away? Well, I got to follow her around the store, and, I just kept that one birthday card right by my eyes, like I'm walking around the store, steady reading it, like, I don't know, in hindsight, they always say hindsight's 30/30, where you look back and you say, well, I could have done that different, because nobody's going to think that it take that long to read any birthday card. Even those fancy ones with the cursive writing, I mean, you can still get through it in about 45 seconds or a minute. Well, here I am, 15-20 minutes walking around the Walmarts, acting like, boy, let me finish reading this giant paragraph inside this birthday card for somebody kind of thing. Well, she get over to the posters, she drop a Justin Bieber poster down that saddlebag. And then, boy, she get to the candy aisle, and I don't know what kind of thing, but it's like them bags of candy. I'm not talking like a candy bar, but she go bags and bags on it. She had a pair of scissors, in the office supply section dropped in there. I'm like, Cindy Mydell, boy, I am on to you. Well, I couldn't do nothing, because Cindy's still in that Walmart's. Well, she finally make it toward the cash register, but she blind. She act like she blind. And I'm like, she ain't blind. Unless something happened to her in the last few months, she ain't blind. Well, it turned out she wasn't blind. She's faking all this. She get out to that, past the registers now. Now I'm thinking, boy, we got to stop this thing. And all of a sudden, once you clear that gumball machine, hey, it's game on. You fair game now. And I got Cindy down there. The thing is, that old Seein dog, that retired firehouse dog, I guess it liked the cool floor by the gumball machines in that little front area. It's like a separate part of the Walmart. Like it's like a you know what it is. I ain't got to tell you. I mean, anybody... we all been to the Walmart. So anyways, that dog lay down on the cool floor. So her getaway dog that's got all these things packed like a pack mule in them saddlebags is like, nope, I'm going to stay right here. And then that's when I approached her, and I had to do what I had to do as undercover, volunteer policeman at the rollback cell. So all I'm telling you right now is that Cindy was trying to make off with upwards at $60, $73, $74 worth of stuff from a rollback sale, and I just said, not on my watch. Basically, what I said was not on my watch, Cindy Meidel. And so that's the same Cindy Meidel that goes into the city hall this week said, I need to work the concession stand. Well, I don't know why, and I still don't know why. So that ain't, I mean, the podcast today ain't going to solve that problem. I don't have the answer why Cindy was in there, but I'm telling you right now, the answer was a big old fat no. Like, we already got a concession stand thing. You know, Cheryl Grubbs, I think, is going to help out again this year. My gal Cricket's going to help out a little bit. You know, she working at the nursing home still, and then she delivering produce for her daddy's farm, and that's really picking up right now. She delivered the produce to the burger shed. So let's say you ever got a burger at the burger shed, and you like them maters on it. I don't really care for the maters, truth be told, or the onions on it, that kind of thing, pickles. Well, her daddy's farm produced a lot of that stuff. Her mom jar pickles. Rosie, Cricket's mama. But anyhow, that ain't what I'm talking about. And then Mary Beth Tucker, she like the head concession stand gal. They done decided that already. So there ain't no room for Cindy Meidel, but she don't work well with others. That's kind of what they'd put on her report card. Does not play well with others, kind of thing. So she got a big fat no. So Cindy Meidel ain't going to be, you know, on a concession stand team in the softball season this year. I mean, maybe she'll show up, seeing if people are dropping gobstoppers under bleachers and trying to get them. I don't know, but I don't know if she's looking for free food or what. Like I said, she ain't as loud as Delma Spencer. Like, Delma will show up and just say, I want this. So for Cindy to get like that, I mean, she had some sort of plan. Maybe we get to the bottom of it sometime. But I tell you, down at Fish and Clips, when they had the ribbon cutting this week, now, Kevin Rickard, he runs Rickard's grocery store. And Ricky Don Pearson, you know, he was on our softball team in the fall, but he ain't playing softball this season. He bought the laundromat in town. He's a volunteer fireman, too. And Sutter Me Up, you know, that's the name of the laundromat. And so anyway, he on city council. Kevin Rickard from Rickard's Grocery Store on city council. And they came out to do the ribbon cutting at Rance Farnhart's, you know, renaming of the bait and tackle shop, Fish and Clips. I mean, they have a whole ribbon. They got scissors. They cut it, kind of thing. It's a big presentation. Donnie Wayne Chambliss walked over from the repair shed. It's 100 yards from the bait and tackle shop, so he'd work out there anyway. He thought he'd see what all the action was. Well, Delma Spencer showed up with her 8 or so kids in tow, and she's like, where's the free food? And Rance is shaking his head at her. He goes, this is the ribbon cutting? You know, there's some pictures. They're going to put it in the newspaper kind of thing. We got like, you know, the new name. And just on like a board, like they got the new name up, but they want me to design like a sign like I did for Early Bird Gets the Perm. So I got to work on that, but I you know, I've been busy. So they just had like a little, you know, a placeholder sign up. And people was there, and you get, you know, like you get pictures, and you get to clap, and then you get to eat there. Be the first people to eat at Fish and Cliffs, but they ain't giving the food away on that patio where they serve the food. They selling it, you know. Rand's got to make a living kind of thing. And Jerry Don and Sybil Farnhart, they were out there, you know, they run the flea market, but they Rance's parents, so they went out there to see their boys, you know, ribbon cutting for the new Fish and Clips renamed bait and tackle shop. So we out there, and Delma got a hard no. And they're like, no, we ain't got no free food out here. I mean, if you want to be part of the town celebration, go ahead and clap kind of thing. You can do that and have your little choir of kiddos clap too if you want to. But, well, Jerry, Don, and Sybil, they felt a little bad, and, you know, they run a flea market, so they always got something in the trunk of their car that they either taking to or leaving from the flea market. Had a creased box of Nilla wafers, and they also had like a dented can of beef soup, something like that away. So she offered all that to Delma Spencer, and them little kiddos, they tore in that box of Nilla wafers like they was at an Easter egg hunt inside of Jerry Don and Sybil Farnhart's flea market kind of thing. Like they just went at it, buddy. Got into that thing. They just sat down right there on the grass between the lake and the fishing clips and just steady ate that stuff up. And Delma, you know, got a handful of Nilla wafers too out of that creased box that was out of Jerry Don Sybil's. The trunk of day Buick LeSabre is what it was in. And so she fed her kids, you know, got what she wanted. Delma's got a way of getting what she wanted, just like when she got ice cream from Rickard's Grocery Store, because she was dropping her kids' bloody little stubby teeth in there in the freezer section, telling them the tooth fairy lived there, and that if you drop them in there, it'll bring you ice cream. Well, Kevin Rickard, and to ensure that she would never do that again, he kind of paid her off with a quart of ice cream or a gallon. I don't know. I was like, Kevin, that's sending the wrong message, because she basically dropped them bloody little teeth for years in your freezer section. Don't know why it took you that long to find them, but no matter no how, now you rewarding her. But, you know, we didn't see eye to eye on that, but that's Kevin's business, so that's how he handled it. And I ain't heard that she's still dropping teeth in there, so maybe it worked. But down at the little ribbon cutting, all of a sudden we got Them kids eating little wafers, and they got little photos there, Kevin Rickard, glad hand and Rance, kind of smiling like, oh, how do you do? Oh, boy, well, congratulations on your business out here. And then Ricky Don Pearson doing the same thing. Oh, how did he do kind of thing. So, you out to support your local business. I was out there. It was a good old time, and I stayed. I got my hair cut, got the clips. That's what the clips comes in. And the fish, they serve good plate of fish and chips out there at Fish and Clips. And so I ate on the patio, and then you get your hair cut on the patio too, and he just sweep the hair off, when it's time for the lunch rush. So he usually would do the haircuts in the morning before they open the restaurant, or later in the evening when they close down or whatever time. So it's all out there now. And of course, in the bait and tackle, they got all kinds of things, lures and baits and all that kind of stuff. They got rods and reels in there. They got snacks. Whole plates of snacks. But then they got, it's like a regular gift shop. You can do all kinds of shopping. They got some t-shirts. They got some keychains. They got little pocket knives. So, I mean, if you like, well, if I only had to go to one place, it's like the outlet mall of the lake out there. I mean, it ain't that big. It's one room once you get inside the snack area. But then there's a separate room for the kitchen, obviously, for the restaurant that he have. And then the patio outside, that's where people eat their food. That's also where Rance give haircuts. So I'm just saying, Fish and Clips, the bait and tackle been open for business. Okay, you know about that. Bait and tackle been open for business, but Fish and Clips is brand new, and Fish and Clips is now open for business. That's how that go. So the ribbon cutting went well. Everybody's excited about that. Rance was glad to get that done, so now he can focus on softball season coming up. Like, he ain't got to think about all the details of the ribbon cutting and all that. So he good to go. The rest of the team is, and I named them all before. You got JT Whitlow on there. He live in Chancellor Park where I live, and he doing a pretty good job on the zip line. He been trying to get up in the Chancellor Park for a while, and it's like functional. I would say it's functional now. But it don't really do well for people over 90 pounds. The kids like it, but I just don't trust it yet. And then we got Rusty Tidwell. Of course, we got Myron Curtis, Mort Whitell on the team. Russell Tucker's on the team. Brody Childress is on the team. Cody Briggs is on the team. So those are some of the new guys we got. Of course, I'm on the team. And so we looking forward to next week, to kicking off the season. And we looking ahead at the Mother's Day. That's why I got the early bird gets the perm. Short-term shirt, a special edition. So I don't know how long it's going to be available, but the early bird gets the perm Mother's Day edition. You can see it right here on my torso if you're watching the video. If you don't, on April 15th, that link's going to go live, and everybody can buy it that want to buy it, for their mama or for their self, That's how that go. So I am very much excited about focusing this upcoming week on some stuff that you may have heard about if you read a lot of like PE books. And this is it has to do with stretching your haunches. You do not want to go into an adult softball league with your haunches unstretched. That's dangerous, because you could tear a muscle, you could strain a muscle, you could sprain a muscle, the ligaments in your knees. So you got to stretch your haunches. And you got to stretch all your seps, quadriceps, forceps, biceps, triceps, interceps, precepts, all of them things. And so this is the time where you steady, it, but now it becomes real. Now before it's just, it's true, but now this is getting real. I got to stretch them out, because next week when I'm motoring around the bases trying to do head first Pete Rose sliding to third base on a soft single that I turned into 3 bases, them haunches got to be stretched. So I for sure 100% will be down at Donut Goes this week. I don't know. I had my eye on a powdered jelly-filled donut. I just feel a little wild, heading into softball season. That may be the way I go. I may just stick with the apple frittler. I don't know yet. But there's a lot to look forward to this week. And I'm about to wrap it up today, y'all guys, but I have to say, I sure appreciate you joining me here on the Tab and Dillard podcast, season 6, episode 7. Softball season's around the corner. Watermelon helmet season is peeking over the horizon with his buddy Cannonball season all of that's happening. The show notes today are going to be a link to my shirts. Now, Friday, the Mother's Day special edition shirt do drop. It do drop. And then you also see my phone number. You can text me, 501-322-6249. Appreciate hearing from y'all during the week. You can also email me, tabandillard@gmail.com. Folks have been ordering personal greetings, and that may pick up heading into Mother's Day. If your mama needs a personal greeting from me, or you think she needs one, that link to the personal greetings will be in my show notes today too. So I tell you, there's a lot going on, and you go out to Fishing Clips this week. They got that new little makeshift sign. They got a new name, and they in full swing out there. Haircut, food, bait, tackle, they got it for you. You can check them out. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. I mean, we just creeping into the middle of April now, and it's a hoot. It is a hoot. And I will say one thing too. If you are listening to this podcast on one of them listening platforms like the Apple, iTunes, or podcast, whatever they call it, if you could leave it a rating this week, I appreciate that. We're approaching like 700 ratings. You know, that's more than 600, you know, on the Apple podcast. If you could leave it a rating, that's like a star. You know, a 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5, I think is as high as it goes. I appreciate that. That goes a long way. And then you could leave a comment on them iTunes too, like, hey, this is what I think about the podcast. And you could share the podcast with a friend, mild acquaintance, mediocre enemy. I don't know who you share podcasts with, but somebody, if you could, that goes a long way too. I appreciate you. If this is something you like listening to, somebody else might like listening to it too. And I really am glad that you are here with me on the Tab and Dillard podcast. I'm going to wrap it up for this week. But hey, if you ain't got caught dropping a Justin Bieber poster into a saddlebag on a Seein dog that got retired from the firehouse because it lost an eye with a fight in a squirrel, you having a pretty good week. Me, I'm Tab and Dillard. This is the Tab and Dillard podcast. Till next time, y'all guys. We'll see you later.